December 9th marks the anniversary of not one, but two classic J.Cole albums in 2014 Forest Hills Drive and For Your Eyez Only.
It's absolutely crazy to see how these albums have aged, but before we actually get into the episode, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification tab. We're connecting the world to hip-hop. But going back to what we were saying, two timeless projects, two projects that, if you're a millennial and you're into hip-hop, you have to listen to these albums just because one of them has sort of birthed a career, let's say, and the other one has just such an importance in that birthed career. Like that 1-2 punch of 2014 Forest Hill Drives and For Your Eyez Only. They're completely two different albums, but they still play the same level of importance to J. Cole's career, right?
Yeah, they definitely do. And I think that, the big debate is not, are these amazing projects? Because the whole community agrees that they are, but it's more, which one is J. Cole's best album?
Okay, so I'll flip the question on you then. Which one is J. Cole's best album then?
Look, it's very tough to say. They're both phenomenal. They both, serve their own purpose. But for me, I'd have to go with 2014 Forest Hills Drive, just because this is the J. Cole album that, he hopped on these beats. It was 13 songs. It was concise. It was his most focused project. And, conceptually, maybe it's not as, forward thinking as For Your Eyez Only, but I love the idea of him bringing us into his adolescence and showing us kind of, how he went from North Carolina to, the big leagues, to New York, and, kind of just propelling his career.
I like the word that you used, forward thinking, for Your Eyez Only, and that's gonna be my choice out of these two albums because conceptually it's one of the best albums that we got of the decade, and I think as far as lyricism and storytelling goes, it's definitely J. Cole's best. I don't think there's another project that stacks up to it, and it's sort of like Kendrick's GKMC, where you could play with it in his top 3 albums, and whatever you choose, it's okay, right?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, For Your Eyez Only is J. Cole's open diary. It's something where I feel as if he wanted to speak his heart out. He wanted to steer away from hunger and like the famine. Like he was over that. Like he put out mainstream albums. He had put out mainstream hits. This approach was much different.
And I love the idea that, it wasn't really, his own story, really. It was the story of someone else, a friend that he grew up with. And, he kind of wanted to show how he took a different path from that friend. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, he doesn't blame his friend for going on that path just because his circumstances pushed him towards that kind of a path. And just to see him kind of make this album be kind of a recorded diary to his friend's daughter, it was really touching, man, and I think that it impacted, hip-hop forever.
It was extremely emotional, and I like going through the whole album rather than listening to a couple of tracks at a time because it has that cinematic value where it's unfolding in front of your eyes, where you'll be listening to one track and then the other track has an important part to play in the project. The next track has an important part to play in the project, and it's the same kind of vibe with 2014 for me because that's the album that really convinced me on J. Cole. Like that was the album where like, okay, like this guy's gonna be a certified legend. This is gonna end up being a classic. And it just the amount of tracks stacked up against each other. Like you look at GOMD, A Tale of Two Cities, No Role Modelz, Wet Dreams,
Love Yourz,
January 28th. Fire Squad. There's so much value within that track list. But then it's a completely different approach with For Your Eyez Only, where it's more cinematic and thematic based, where it's more of a coherent project rather than just a playlist, let's say.
Exactly. You couldn't have said it better yourself, just because, 2014 Forest Hills Drive has a track list where you'll play, any song on the track list at any given moment, but you'll play just that one song. With For Your Eyez Only, you're invested in listening to that project from Who the Bell Tolls all the way up to For Your Eyez Only as the outro. You're listening to the whole thing straight just because it's a very complete thematic narrative at the end of the day.
Yeah, and both of them are both complete albums and complete projects, but if you're investing your time into For Your Eyez Only, as you said before, you got to give the full listen because it's consumed in a different way than 2014 is. Mm-hmm. 2014 is a much more, I'll play a couple of songs, they're probably in my playlist and I'll get back to it later, whereas if For Your Eyez Only comes on maybe in like, the after hours and you're like at your house, like while you're doing homework or, maybe your weed session or whatever it is, it depends where you're at, but it's more of an intimate album. It's more of an intimate grasp. It's an intimate cinematic value. And I mention cinematic value a lot because that's what J. Cole does so well with his imagery on this album. He allows you to paint these vivid pictures for yourself because the vivid picture he's painting is not even his, bro. It's something of a different perspective, like you said. So you kind of have to do that as well, where you have to go through the album, but you have to paint the album with him rather than watch his painting go out in front of you. They're both classic albums. I'm so proud of what J. Cole's been able to accomplish.
And they both have no features.
They both went platinum without features. That's
crazy, man.
That's out of this world.
I want to end off by asking you, what's your favorite song from both albums?
For Your Eyez Only is definitely For Your Eyez Only. That's like Kendrick Sing About Me, in my opinion, and I've mentioned that on my episode with Colin, which you guys could check out, in a playlist probably linked to this or at the end of the episode. And off 2014, it's probably January 28th, because out of any other song, I feel as if it's most in tune with what Cole is thinking and feeling at that time. It wasn't something where he was writing out of his element, but it was something more of him bleeding his brain onto the paper. So I'm going to ask you that same question back, bro. What's your favorite track off each of the projects?
To be totally honest, those are also my two favorite tracks, but just to shout out other tracks on those track lists, I'd have to go with maybe A Tale of Two Cities, just because the storytelling on that track was phenomenal. And that beat fucking banged. And then for Your Eyez Only, Change is a really nice song where we have beautiful vocals from Ari Lennox, and that change of perspective also in the song where J. Cole talks about his own personal life and then moves on to his friend James. It was perfectly done, and it's amazing that J. Cole released both of these albums exactly 2 years apart and kept that anniversary of December 9th.
Two completely different perspectives, but from the same artist. So guys, if you like hip-hop content like this, please hit the subscribe button, turn on the notifications. We're connecting the world to hip-hop. Lou, it's a really special day for J. Cole and all J. Cole fans out there. Who the fuck doesn't like Cole at this point? But guys, we'll see you on the next video.